We in the building. We in the building. We in the building, bitch. We in the building. We in the building. We in the building. We in the building, bitch. We in the building. Finally, R0B and PTA have come back to Giants. Ooh, man, I'm a little, a little rusty. To BGN. Which means that finally R0B and PTA have come back to Giants Talk. Now, bear with me a second here because I'm trying to see if I can forgot how to fix my camera. Oh, there we go, I think. No, that's not how I do it. Whatever. I had myself, forgot how to edit how the actual camera looked. Anyway, but in today's show, we are going to be recapping the New York Giants versus the Minnesota Vikings, the debacle. We are going to discuss it. We're going to be talking about the Week 2 matchup against the Washington Commanders. And we are going to be talking about, should we be putting on the life vests, getting in the lifeboats, and getting the hell off the ship because it's sinking big time. We are going to be discussing all of that. We're going to be discussing it all. Okay? We're going to be discussing it all. So grab your popcorn, grab your drink. It could be a beer. It could be a margarita. It could be whatever it may be. But you're about to get the jabroni beating, pie eating, trailblazing, eyebrow raising, put your foot on the gas, no brakes are needed. Daniel Jones sucks. Buckle your butt cheeks because we're about to get heated and beated. If you smell what I'm cooking. If you smell what R0B and PTA is cooking. Yo, what is going on, everybody? I appreciate y'all joining up and joining the live here, man. Appreciate y'all. Hope everybody's having a good start to your day. Let me check in people one time. We got Daniel Berry saying evening. What's going on, Daniel? We got Alex from the Bronx dropping in. What's going on, Alex, man? Appreciate you coming in here. We got W Live or W7 Lives coming in. Where is Pest? Unfortunately, Pest, passed away in last November. I wanted to continue, doing the show, that we've been doing. And that's just what I did. Just what I wanted to do. So, so here we are. So listen, we're going to get right into it, man. We're not going to, yes, this past November, is when it happened. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, we're gonna jump right in, and I'm not gonna waste any time, and we're gonna talk about this game that happened on Sunday, if you want to even call it a freaking game. This debacle that is the New York Giants. Giants lose 28-6 to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I was saying that we can't just think this is a layup game, and I felt like a bunch of people were thinking that this was just going to be like 2022, okay? This was the 2022 Minnesota Vikings that were going to allow us to just pass for 300 and do all this other stuff. Nah, okay? That was not going to be the case. Under Brian Flores, last year they were ranked 16th in defense, okay? I believe their passing defense, they were ranked pretty high. And their rushing defense, they were also ranked very well or decent. And they were in the middle of the pack. They were ranked 16th overall in defense, okay? And listen, I said, one, Brian Flores is going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming into this game, okay? Especially with what's going on and what happened with the interviewing process with the New York Giants. I said that he had that young team last year, that they were probably one of the worst defenses 2022, brought them to middle of the pack with a lot of young, talented players that are now going into their second year. Now, R0B, it's Sam Darnold. Now, we're better. I heard people saying they weren't scared. I heard that people saying there's nobody on this roster, whatever. There were people clamoring, Giants fans clamoring when we restructured Andrew Thomas. Oh, dear God, please go out there and sign Gilmore. Please. Begging. He signs with the Vikings. Hey, man, I'm not really too sure about these DBs. Gilmore's cooked, whatever. You just wanted to sign him 3 weeks ago. What do you mean he's cooked? Now he's cooked because he's not on your roster? That's what we do, though. That's how Giants fans are, man. Okay? That's what they be doing. Okay? And like, they'll want a player, but then he'll sign somewhere else and he's cooked. Or he's cooked, right? People were talking about Paris Campbell, joking, clowning on this guy, but he signed with us last offseason. Oh, man, this guy's going to be good. 70 catches, 900 yards, 8 touchdowns. Come on. What are we doing, man? But back to the game. Look, this was an awful performance in all, I don't even want to say all 3 phases, but really 2, defensively and offensively. Graham Gano was the MVP. He scored the most. Graham Gano has more field goals made this season than Daniel Jones does touchdowns. And I think he might actually, Graham Gano, before he left last year, has more field goals made than Daniel Jones has touchdowns in its entirety. Okay? But listen, okay? Listen. This game was just all around bad, okay? Jones played like shit. The play calling wasn't very good, supposedly either, but I do see some clips where you've got guys, you've got guys that were open down the field, right? You've got other plays where you could have made, and Jones didn't throw the ball. Defensively, Dexter did his thing. But Kayvon was nowhere to be found. Milk carton. Brian Burns, who we just traded for and gave a huge contract to. Milk carton. Our brightest spots on defense was Dexter, was Tyler Nubin, and was Drew Phillips. And was it Mayasau or Mayasau. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Those were it. Those were it. Dude, we had 2 turnovers in this football game. 2 turnovers in this football game that resulted in 3 points. 3 points. That is pathetic. Pathetic. Okay? Absolutely pathetic. And I'll be honest, man, like, dude, as a Giants fan, it is so hard. Like just stand there and watch that game on Sunday just to be embarrassed. Every season, I'm getting hyped up for the game. I'm getting hyped up for the season, man. And football to me means a lot, watching football, and I'm just let down every single week. Every week, I'm let down. Every week. It is terrible. And listen, this is going all the way to the top, dude. This is going all the way to the top. Listen, some of y'all may not want to hear this, okay? But Joe Shane ain't that good right now, bro. He ain't. He absolutely ain't. He ain't the dude. He ain't. Okay? This guy has missed on draft classes, bro. Right now, his first draft class looks like an absolute fucking shit show. For the exception of Wando Robinson. And I'll be honest, man, Kayvon is kind of becoming a letdown, man. Like, I love Kayvon, dude, but like, come on. Like, how do you go into that game and you just get stuffed like a fucking turkey, bro? How do you do that? You've got arguably the best interior lineman in the game on your line. You had arguably the biggest edge acquisition in the game on the other side. You can't get by Brian O'Neill? You're slipping against Christian Darrisaw? I mean, dude, come on. But, dude, Joe Shane, look, it's a long list. It's a long, dirty laundry list when it comes to Joe Shane, okay? His draft has not been good. His contract negotiations have not been good. And I'm not going to, and you're going to be, oh, well, he signed 18. He signed Andrew, Dexter Lawrence and Bobby Okereke. I don't give a fuck about them. I'm talking about other negotiations, bro. The main 2 is Barkley and Jones. That's it. He doesn't know value of players. He has no handle on the fucking market whatsoever. We got more people in Twitter spaces that know the market better than he fucking does. It is atrocious, man. Somebody said it today. I forgot who had said it. Was a buddy of ours asked in one of the space. He is just a weak individual. Weak. Now, listen, I'm not going to, here on this show, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, okay? I'm not going to bake you a nice, beautiful cake and put a bunch of sparkler candles on it and hand it over to you. I'm going to give you like it is. I'm going to give it to you straight. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's what you're going to get from me. That's my promise to y'all, okay? You're going to get it straight 100% from me. This is not a good football team, guys. We're not. And it starts at the top. These guys made the decisions with inside this organization that have just set us back tremendously. Tremendously. I talked about Joe Shane, right, in his contract negotiations, his drafting, all of that other stuff. If you would have, dude, the same way on Hard Knocks that you said that you're selling Tamara about letting Barkley walk, you could have done that during the season last year and said, we're going to be good. And trade that motherfucker, dude. And get some value for Saquon Barkley. If you would have had a better handle on the market for safeties and said to yourself, man, I'm not going to 15 or anything above 15, trade McKinney, bro. Why leave him on the damn fucking roster? And you just did a Gettleman, bro. You did a Landon Collins. You could have traded him and gotten a day 2 pick and traded him. You could have gotten 2. Okay? That's bad, man. That is not good. And Brian Dable, man, dude, what was that job? And what is just going on with development of fucking players? The development of players is fucking down, bro. Down. You got your first draft class that's you just cut Beavers, you drafted him. You cut McKeithen, you drafted him. Cordell Flat, he's what's going on with that guy? He hasn't amounted to anything. Evan Neal looks like the biggest bust since the freaking Latanza heist. Dude, come on. The only 2 guys out of that first draft class that you can say are decent players is freaking Kayvon Thibodeau and fucking Wanda Robinson. And yeah, you're gonna say Daniel Bellinger. They don't even like the kid. They're not even giving him any burn. They tried to replace him back to back. They tried to replace him back to back seasons in trading for Waller and then drafting Theo Johnson. So it's clear. It's hey, Daniel Bellinger, fuck you. They don't care. They don't care. Oh, but what about Micah McFadden? Well, you know what? If it was all about Micah McFadden, Deontay Johnson wouldn't have been getting fucking burned in training camp. He was getting massive fucking burn, dude. Massive. Massive. Okay? This organization is it is going up in flames. And what we need to do and what we need to stop doing is we need to stop hoping. We've accepted mediocrity. We've accepted mediocrity as what we are. Why? Why have we done that as an organization? Why have we done that as a fan base? I need to see week 2. Dude, I'm sorry, but we are not the Buffalo Bills. We are not the Kansas City Chiefs. We are not the Miami Dolphins. You cannot come out week 1 against a team of this caliber in the Minnesota Vikings and shit the fucking bed like you did. If this was against Dallas or Philadelphia or somebody else, we would understand getting your doors blown off. But we wouldn't have went in with any expectations and say, man, you should compete in this game. And people are going to say, oh, the Bengals lost. The Bengals don't have the type of expectations or have been the kind of lackluster organization that the Giants have been over the last fucking 5 years. The Giants have been an absolute joke. And if you want to go back to a decade, yeah, the Bengals were still winning more games than the Giants. They had Andy Dalton. They were making it into the playoffs. They were winning games with Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. This organization is bad, and we need to stop being this wasted, lackluster-minded type of fan base, bro. And we need to say, no, we deserve better. We deserve better. We need better. This organization needs better. You got Lawrence Taylor, according to Carl Banks. Lawrence Taylor saying, Carl, I could pick 22 guys out of here, and we could beat the brakes off of these guys. We could play better than the team that's out there right now. Meaning us, the Giants. And he don't even watch football like that. It is not good, guys. It is not good. It is not good. So be ready. Be ready because it is a rude awakening that is about to come. A rude awakening. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the link in the chat here. I don't know how to pin it. I don't know how to pin it here to the top. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if anybody knows how to do that, but I don't know how to do that. But if you guys would like to join up, go ahead and click that link. That's right there. I put the StreamYard link in there. Click on that. Come on in. We're gonna do what I'm gonna basically kind of do what me and PTA used to do, which would kind of be, kind of like Wednesday night at the barbershop. Wednesday barbershop. That's Tuesday, obviously, but because we used to do our show on Wednesdays. But I'm gonna do a barbershop type today. Anybody that wants to join up in the conversation, by all means, come in, join up, click the link. I'll bring you up. We could talk about the game. We could kind of look towards next week and kind of give your opinions on where you think, the things are at, where the team is at, and whatnot. All right, let's see here. All right, see if we can get anybody that wants to join up. But until then, listen, like I'm saying, this is bad, okay? And the Giants need to do better. We need to be better than what we are right now, okay? We need to be better than what we are right now. And if we're not, then it is, then I don't know. But it's not looking good. It is not looking good at all, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. Okay. And hands down, like, we need a complete look. I don't know what the season is going to end, but I don't think the season is going to end very good. I had us at 3 or 4 wins. And after seeing what I saw on Sunday, I don't even know if it's going to be that. But I tell you this right now, I don't like our chances going into week 2. I really don't. Some people may. Some people are like, oh, it's the Commanders, it's this, it's that. I don't, just based off of how we look, I don't know, dude. I don't like it. I'm expecting a loss this week. Okay? I'm expecting a loss this week. And dudes, I mean, I don't know, man. It is not looking good. And if we don't win this game, I said it. Last weekend was our opportunity to win. You got another opportunity this week to go out there and win. All right? If you don't, our next opportunity to win a football game is week 9. Because we got the Browns coming. We got to go to the Browns. Then our next home game is at home against the Cowboys. Then we got to go to Seattle. Then we got a home game against the Eagles. Then after that, after the home game against the Eagles, it's Monday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then it's at home against Washington. It is not looking good. It is not looking good. Okay? It is not looking good at all. And then you got to go to Germany to play the Carolina Panthers. Now, I'll say this. As of right now, I see us winning one of these Washington games and the Panthers game. I don't see another. I thought maybe we could beat the Colts. That don't look very promising. Okay, that don't look very promising. And with the Falcons, yeah, I mean, Kurt, we don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback at that point when we play the Falcons. It could be Kurt. It could be Penix. I'm of the belief, I think that Kurt, if it is Kurt, he's probably going to be better later in the year than he is right now. I mean, the guy's coming off an Achilles. You know, so I mean, I'm not too sure how they're going to look. So if we don't win this game, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because you're looking at an 0-7 start. You are looking at an 0-7 start. Telling you, it's going to be bad. And yeah, Deshaun Watson, but they still got a hell of a defense over there. A hell of a defense. And Deshaun Watson, that game could be a game where Deshaun Watson looks like the Deshaun Watson from like 3 or 4 years ago. And he just lights us up. Okay? The Cowboys absolutely decimated the Browns. Decimated the Browns. They are going to annihilate us. They might beat us worse than they beat us last year. Annihilate us badly. Barkley's coming into town. He might set fucking single game records, NFL records against us. Records. Telling you. And then the Seattle game, bro, Seattle played pretty good on Sunday. I know they were playing Denver, but they played decent. And here's the thing. They beat us the last 2 years. They spanked us. They've spanked us the last 2 years. Last time we looked good against the Seattle Seahawks was when we had Colt McCoy playing back in 2020 or 2021. That's the last time that we looked good against the Seattle Seahawks. Okay? That's the last time. So, and then everybody, the Saints. The Saints just whooped the Carolina Panthers' ass, and their team sucks, and so do we. Okay? So, I don't know, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not looking good for the New York Giants. Now, looking forward to this game, or fast forwarding to this game, look, their offensive line, they got Bobby Johnson there as the offensive coordinator. Jaden got sacked 2 times last week. One of them was a fumble. Okay, so again, I will say this should be a game where Kayvon and Burns and Dexter Lawrence should be wreaking havoc in this game. This should be a game where it's like, holy shit, we've got the fucking 07 defensive line out there for the New York Giants. Okay? And Daniel always performs well against the Washington Commanders. So let's just see. But I'll tell you what. I'm not as confident because Dan Quinn knows Daniel Jones, knows his nuances. He's been playing against him the last 2-3 years. He knows it. He knows him. And guys like Bobby Wagner, who's a seasoned veteran, losing the way that they did yesterday, Bobby Wagner is in that fucking locker room saying, we are not about to lose to these fucking guys that just got their asses beat by a bad team like Minnesota. At least Washington lost to a good football team in Tampa Bay. We are not about to let these guys that just got their asses beat by Minnesota come into our house and beat us. The losing stops now. And I can see Bobby and Dan and these guys getting hype enough and giving us an ass fucking whooping. Okay? An ass whooping. But we will see. We will see what happens. But you've got an offensive line that I think can be had. Their DBs are not as good. DBs are not as good. So this could be a great game for Daniel to hit Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson, get these wide receivers and tight ends involved. Running game, I don't see us being very successful there. I don't see that being very successful. But you know, that's the key right there. The keys right there are going to be getting after Jaden Daniels, keeping him in the pocket, forcing some turnovers, getting him uncomfortable, and just let him be a rookie. That's what you guys need to do. And we will win the game. We got to be able to move the ball on offense. Have to. This is a make-right game for the Giants, man. This is a make-right game for the Giants. This is a make-right game for the Giants. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a little surprise for y'all, man. Listen, if you don't know, you better know. Okay, but we got the man. We got the man, the myth, the legend. I'm talking the edits you love that make you laugh on a constant. I'm talking about the absolute beating that the Giants took on Sunday. We're going to talk about it. Give it up for my man, my boy, my brother. Big Dash knows what?
What's going on?
New York Giants football. What's up, baby?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Son's birthday today. Was able to get the cake cut and all that other stuff. I said, let me run and see what Rob is doing.
That's what's up, man. Hey, well, listen, first and foremost, appreciate you jumping on. Happy birthday to your little man. How old is he? How old's the little man today?
This is the middle one. This is the one that makes the beats. He's 15 today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
15.
Yeah.
He's behind the scenes making all the beats for the Big Dash Knows podcast, videos and stuff.
That's a fact.
Okay. Well, he better be getting a little cut from the videos. He better be getting a little piece of the pie.
It's funny you say that because his mom made sure that he gets a cut.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, brother. So listen, man, talk to me, man. Because listen, we were in the Twitter spaces, and you know, for anybody who doesn't know, you know, when the season's about to start, Big Dash is probably one of the most positive sons of bitches I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And he was full. I mean, he might have been flying around in the air with a K with a P on his chest stands for positive, Mr. Positive.
That's a fact.
How tough was it to watch that game on Sunday, and how did you feel when the clock hit 000?
Oh, by the time it hit 000, I was laughing. I cried for 3 quarters. By the time we got to the 4th quarter, everything became funny, man. It was hard on a lot of levels for me because, again, just like with everything you said, you know, going into the season, I throw the Homer hat on in about August, right when training camp starts. We get in the preseason, I throw the Homer hat on because, you know, I'm critical from as soon as the season starts. You get into the whole drafting and all that other stuff. I become critical, and then, you know, once the team is a team, that Homer hat comes on, and then they did it to me again. They fooled me just like last year. Actually, it wasn't as bad as last year because last year I jumped out the window. This year I was in that wait and see mode, and yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad, and we gotta figure out some things with the Giants, man. We got to figure out some things for sure.
You know, I thought about it. It was funny. I don't know the name of the song, but there's a song, and like part of the lyrics of the song is like "One time for my LA ho," like that song right there. And there's a part in that song where like George Bush comes on. He goes, "What is that?" He's like, fool me once. You
Yeah,
can't
that's
get
that
fooled.
J. Cole. Yep.
Can't get fooled again." And I'm like,
Yeah.
we keep getting fooled, man. As Giants fans, man, we keep getting fooled season in and season out. And man, listen, I was just talking, you jumped on, you probably missed it, man. And I said, like, at this particular point in time, there needs to be some major accountability being placed on the people that are in charge. And look, I'm a fan first, and yeah, there are moves that take place, man, that I'm excited for. But when you look at Joe Shane's tenure as a whole, as the Giants GM, it's not very promising. Now, yeah, he's made some good decision, Pinnock, Bobby Okereke, things of that nature. But
Yeah.
your first two draft classes right now, not looking very good. I'm not confident in Brian Dable talking about Jalen Hyatt, on Monday after the game. Oh, yeah, he's our third or fourth receiver. Kind of seems like you don't know where you're playing him or what to do with the guy at that point going into his second season that you guys traded up for. As a matter of fact, in the documentaries, it's either Hyatt or JMS. When the Bears moved up and they took the corner, you guys were so hyped to get this guy. So it's clear he was on your radar. You guys wanted him, and you don't seem to know how to use him. And so it's like, I look at the contract negotiations, players that he didn't trade so overall, man, like, accountability needs to be had. And where are you on that standpoint as of right now?
Yeah. I think the easy way to say it is that people want their pound of flesh, man. They want accountability first, like, and I think it's because when you're dealing with the NFL and GMs, you never really get the answers that you want, and they're never going to give them to you. They're never going to say, "I'm flat, I was wrong for doing this. I don't know what I was doing when I made that selection." We're never going to get that. So as fans, we'll never be satisfied with just these guys with these simple answers. But for me, everything you said is true. Like when you start to analyze the draft picks from the first draft. This is the year. Like you always want to be fair. This is the year where those guys from the first draft are supposed to be your main contributors. And you're looking at guys like Tibbs, even though this is only week 1 and we have Washington next week, and he tends to go off whenever we play Washington. But it wasn't up to par this week. Brian Burns, again, his first game here too, but it wasn't up to par this week. And I think had it not looked bad on offense and defense in some case, then you could probably survive it. But now you're talking about not firing on any cylinders. Right now, obviously, Dexter Lawrence is Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas, those are your cornerstone pieces. But all those guys that you filled up the roster with those draft picks, not the Gettleman guys that were left over that you re-signed, but your guys that you picked up are not making the impact that you want them to make. Now, I will say this. We saw some good energy from 2 rookies. That'd be Tyler Nubin and Andrew Phillips. Andrew Phillips had the first turnover of the game.
Yep.
It looks fantastic. Then what happens after that? He gets pulled for whatever reason, and now Flott is the cornerback. I haven't heard of an injury, why they kept Andrew Phillips out, what happened. And then you look at, like I said, Tyler Nubin had a big play that gave the defense a little bit of boost in the second half, where he pretty much decleated the running back in the hole.
Yeah.
Looking at some of these picks, like, okay, maybe this class is the class. But if those first 2 classes aren't up to snuff, you probably won't get a chance to pick another one in 2025. So I think that a lot of people that had grace for Joe Shane and had grace for Dable, me being one of those people, it's like, no, nothing. I'm not giving you any kind of grace anymore. The only way you can make me change my mind is with W's. That's it.
Yeah.
And the guy pick got to perform.
100%. 100%, dude. Like, I think at this point, like, when you look at the game, I don't even want to say the game was bad on all 3 phases, because I think special teams did an okay job. Like, punting, you pin them back inside the 5-yard line, right? They go 99 yards.
Yeah.
Obviously, Graham Gano looks like he's back to being the Graham Gano that we know and love, Mr. Automatic himself. Like, just and I want to say the play calling, but like, I'm seeing these clips and these breakdowns from, like, Talking Giants and Dan Schneier and all these guys, where guys are open. Guys are open. You have Theo Johnson up the seam a couple of times, or in the flat, and it's like, and Daniel's rolling out, and Theo's standing there like, like this, like, hey, throw me the ball. And then all of a sudden he's like, this motherfucker ain't gonna throw it. All right, I'm turning around and I'm gonna try to block somebody. Like,
Yeah.
so it was just I'm gonna push back on or hold back on blaming Brian Dable for a bad, a bad showing. But I will say though, he got outclassed. He got
Oh yeah.
outclassed. But I think a big part of that, man, is like it's so hard for me, dude, because I know how bad Daniel Jones is. And and yes, Brian Dable is a part of that because he chose to continue going on with Daniel Jones, which it's hard not to hold him onto that. But at the same point, I feel like it's somewhat unjust. Like I would I would say this. I'm not going to say unjust, but a curiosity that if we actually had a functional quarterback like a Penix or like somebody of that nature, like a young player that can play, what he would look like. Would we be
Yeah.
singing a different tune about Brian Dable, right? And stuff like that. So it makes me curious, with that aspect. But on the Thibodeau thing, like, look, you're right. He pops off against teams like Washington. But
Mhm.
I'm not trying to invest money into you. You're going in your third year. I don't need you
Yeah.
to just pop off against the bad teams. Now, granted, is he a TJ Watt? No. Is he some of these top tier edge rushers? No. But when you draft a guy 5 overall, there's nothing wrong with saying you want
Yeah.
this player, you expect this player to have that kind of an impact on games. Ultimately, right? You want when
Yeah.
you talk about the top edge rushers, you want to include that guy in there. And when you're not up to snuff and you're not delivering unless it's against bad teams, then what good are you? You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, let's be honest. When it comes to Tibbs, it's a surprise where he's at right now, because it wasn't just the Giants that thought he was going to be an outstanding pass rusher. Like, he was highly touted coming out of college for a reason.
Yeah.
Dallas. He was number one on Dallas's board. That's, at least that's what the rumor is. But it wasn't like, okay, the Giants, like, how the Giants picked the Zudo and we picked McKeithen and these are Giants guys or flat. No, Thibodeau was one of those names where, a lot. It wouldn't just been the Giants that would have picked him. And so when you see him playing the way that he's playing, it's a big letdown. But I want to go back to the Brian Day because I didn't get a chance to reply to that. So I think it's two things when you're watching that game. When you initially watch that game and you're looking at the play calling and not making any adjustments, that's Brian Dable. That's right. Now, some of his plays did work, but you got bad quarterback play. It was poor execution. But the one thing I noticed, like even early, like in that first quarter, we went heavy set. We had the double tights. You had Bellinger in there, so you're running Theo Johnson, Manhurts, and Bellinger out there because of what? Everybody named Mama thought that Brian Flores was going to be sending the blitz right off of the bat, and he didn't. He didn't. And I understand that you go with your scripted plays, but by that second series, once you realize that he's not sending the blitz and you're still going heavy set, you're not seeing Jalen Hyatt on the field. I think they said it was 4 snaps with Jalen Hyatt on the field in the first half of the game. Like, come on. You're running 1 wide receiver sets. Are you kidding me? 2. And I think that has to do with the coaching. And now we've seen these clips. And again, like you said, people are putting up these clips. We're seeing plays where guys are open, but those were just certain plays of the game. Like, what was it? He dropped back for, what was it? 41 passes, I think it was?
42.
42 passes. Okay, so out of those 42 pass plays, you probably had guys that were really open maybe 50% of that time. You know what I mean? Maybe 50% of the time. And that's pretty good. That's still pretty good. But outside of that, a lot of those play calls were awful. That pick six, as much as we want to blame Daniel Jones for that pick six, I blame the play design too, because I'm sitting on my couch looking at Wandell motion behind a bunch set, and everybody who's anybody knows that's going to be a screenplay. Like, come on, what are we, empty backfield? You're not leaving anything to imagination. And Van Ginkel made a hell of a play. You can blame it on Illuminor for not, standing them up a little bit or getting in front of. Yeah, but even if Wandell Robinson catches that, it's a loss. So it's a lot of things to clean up. I think right now the bad play of Daniel Jones might help Brian Dable as far as accusations, but everything needs to be cleaned up. Everything needs to be cleaned up. And I hate to say it, if we go out there and we beat the Washington Commanders, I'm not satisfied. I'm not.
I
I
agree.
I I, I won't believe it. I won't believe it. Now if we go out there and we beat the Commanders and then we follow up and beat the Browns, then you got my attention. Then maybe I'll take my foot off the gas and you know give you some grace. But that's it, man. Beating the Washington Commanders is something that we do all the time, and I'm not satisfied with that if that happens. I still hope we win. Trust me, I still hope that we win. But I'm not going to be satisfied with just beating the Commanders. Now, if we lose to the Commanders, you think this week was bad? Yeah.
Bro, it's gonna be. Listen, it's gonna be a riot. And look, I'll be honest. I don't have us beating the Commanders. I really don't. I'm not confident in this game because I think, and I was just talking about that. I think you got Dan Quinn that's been playing against us the last 2 to 3 years, and look, they played against a really good Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, and they lost. And they're nowhere near that type of roster. And they should have lost that game. But you got dogs in your locker room, guys like Bobby Wagner. And I'm thinking he's talking to these guys like, look, we are not about to have these cream puffs come to our house that just had no business, that just lost to the Minnesota Vikings, coming to our house and beat us and embarrass us in our home opener here in Washington, D.C. And I feel like guys like that, Dan Quinn, some of these people, some of those other players, man, like I think that they're going to rally. I think that they're going to rally and they may show up and play some good football and show up on us, dude. And I think so.
They got their own point to prove. I finally watched that Commanders game a little bit earlier today. I will say this: Jaden Daniels is as advertised, but when I'm looking at the team, it's not that good. Why the Commanders are not that good? Now they did play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I get the highlight of the games were the breakdown and Jalen Daniels getting downfield, doing what he does with his legs. But some of the passing was off. It was a big play to Terry McLaurin that he just overthrew. So he's still working out the kinks, and that's not a knock on Jaden Daniels. That's what a rookie is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as the year goes by, he's going to get better. But I'm just I'm looking at they were able, Tampa Bay was able to run the ball against them. So I'm saying for me this week against the Commanders, I saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I saw Baker Mayfield throw the ball to his playmakers, and his playmakers made the play. And everybody believes that we do have at least one playmaker on this team right now. And it's crazy how I totally flipped from my thoughts going into the season. It's like, hey, you want to get Malik Neighbors involved, but don't force feed him. No, force feed him. Force feed him. I mean, you don't want to be stupid, but you got to force feed him. Force feed Slayton. Get Hyatt involved. You got to get these guys involved. And the thing that hurts me the most is that I did see those plays where guys were open and Daniel Jones was trigger shy. If we continue to see him trigger shy, even though he's the best quarterback in our QB room, if he's not going to pull a trigger, you have to get somebody else in there. And I think the grace is the Washington Commanders game. If he looks the same or he lays the same type of dud, the discussion next week is going to be Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock. I think it's really going to be that because you want one of those guys to get in there before we play Dallas in week 4. So
see, the thing is, and we were talking about this today, Dash, and I said, right now, I think that Brian Dable and Joe Shane, we have our opinions, and maybe not necessarily you, but some of us have the opinions that it's time to move on from both of these guys. And that's not their mindset, obviously. Joe Shane doesn't want to lose his job. Brian Dable doesn't want to lose his job, right? So they're going to do whatever they got to do to try to preserve their job security and ensure that they don't get fired, that they don't lose their job.
Yeah.
And I think for me, week 5, is what I've been saying is that QB change to Drew Lock going into that Seattle game, right? You got that long week because you're going to be playing on Thursday night, right? So you're going to have that long 9 or 10 day break between then and the Sunday afternoon game,
Yeah.
right? That is the time where I see them making the change at the quarterback position and then it being hyped up. New quarterback, revenge game for Drew Lock, going up there to play against his old team, the Seattle Seahawks. And because if you do it, let's just say Daniel comes out and we're down 14-0 going into the half, and you bench Daniel Jones for Drew Lock, and Drew Lock, he comes back and he wins that game. But then he goes to Dallas the next week, or Cleveland. You go to Cleveland next week, and he looks like crap. And then you got Dallas that comes to town, and he looks like crap. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to Daniel Jones?
No.
You're going to go to Tommy DeVito. So to me, they're going to leave Jones out there until week 5. They're going to give him these first few weeks and say, listen, here's your turnaround game here. Then they're going to let him go and get beat up against the Cleveland Browns, and then have a home game against Dallas.
Let me ask you a question, Rob. Okay, now, and like I said, I can see that, right? But I just remember when we drafted Daniel Jones, that 2019 season. Mm-hmm. Eli went out there and lost 2 games in a row, and this is Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, Eli Manning, and they benched him. If Daniel Jones looks like, or if the team looks like they did against the Minnesota Vikings, against the Commanders, do you really think they're going to wait that long?
Yes.
If it looks exactly the same.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I do. I look, I'll say this. If they make a change at the quarterback position that early, I'll be shocked, because the thing with Eli is Jones was a rookie. You just invested the 6th overall pick that year in a rookie quarterback. And you could tell that Eli Manning was kind of cooked, but you made the big stink. You're bringing him back. He's making like $18 million that year, whatever the case was. You get 2 games and you're like, you know what? Let's just put the rookie out there and see what he's got. You don't got that right now. Like, I could see this. I could see, like, if we drafted a quarterback in the 2nd round, or you drafted a JJ, or you have a Michael Penix waiting, 100%. I would say if he loses this game, it's over. He's done. Like, you're going to turn it over to the rookie. You've got Drew Lock and you've got Tommy DeVito. So you've got really nothing banging down the door, putting pressure on Daniel Jones to pull him. So to me, it's.
Let me ask you this: if this is with Drew Lock on the team, this is with Tommy DeVito. Had we still had Tyrod Taylor, would you still feel the same?
Yes.
You would still wait.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if the Giants brought in real competition as a second string quarterback, so say what was one of those guys on the list was a Gardner Minshew or Jameis Winston, you're still waiting to week 5?
I don't think week 5, because I think that those are little, and even with going back to the Tyrod Taylor, I think at that point you could probably put those guys in at halftime next week, or going into week 3 going forward, right? Because those guys are just really good. They're on a different level to me than what Drew Lock is. Drew Lock right now still has a lot of unproven stuff that he hasn't shown. And he's basically the same as Daniel Jones. And so
we don't know how healthy he is, though.
And we don't. You're absolutely right. Yeah. We don't. So I don't, other than his big arm, because there's no question he's got the strongest arm on the football team. Drew Lock does. Yeah. But there's nothing really to me that's like, man, we got to see this kid. Like, there's nothing. There's nothing nowhere unless it's inside the building. Unless it's inside the building.
You made a point when we first started talking about this subject. you know what, if you throw, so say Daniel Jones is awful, you know, you bench him, you throw Drew Lock in there, and then he's awful. Like, what do you do after that? And I think they made that bed that they have to lay in.
Yep.
So for me, if I'm Brian Dable, like if you're going to push your cards or your chips to the center of the table, you better be right. So if you bench Daniel Jones, because right now a lot of people are trying to throw Daniel Jones under the bus, which he doesn't need to be thrown under the bus to save Brian Dable possibly. Shout out to D Brown. To save Brian Dable, to save, for him to be the scapegoat. But then a lot of people will say, well, you know what? You're the reason why Daniel Jones is still on the team. So this is their bed. This is their bed they have to lay in it. If you do make the move, you can't go back. You can't, no matter what happens, you can't go back. And because Tommy DeVito did have some success last year, if you do fail with Drew Lock, you could go to Tommy DeVito because he has, a certain section of the fan base that still roots for him. So you got two chances. Either way, you're still done.
And I'll throw another curveball into the stash, right? Because we talked about this, the injury clause. All right,
that's what I mean. You can't go back.
Now, if you're not going to go back, what do you do with him? Because if you bench him, is he your second stringer? Does he go down to third? Oof. So now is it Drew Lock and is it Tommy DeVito that's your one and your two? And if you're benching him, you're not going to put him back out there. So why is he going to be your second string quarterback? Man, so now if he's down to your third string, what do you do with Daniel Jones? Do you cut him? Do you just cut him and let him go to free agency now and just say, hey, maybe a team will pick you up? Or do you try to see if there's a team that will trade you a sixth rounder or seventh rounder or something like that? And you say, you know what, we're going to eat some of this money, but we'll give you him and we'll get a fifth or a sixth or a seventh round pick for him. What do you do with Daniel Jones? Because you're not going to keep him in the building. You're not going to keep him on that depth chart, on that sideline, knowing you ain't putting him back. Once you take him out, injury guarantee, he ain't touching that field ever again, ever. So what are you going to do with him?
No. Yeah. Well, first of all, nobody's going to trade for him. I don't think there's trade value for him. Right now, he's like, what's the worst thing you can have as far as no value? There's no value with Daniel Jones right now. And he would be more of a, like, if a team were to bring him on, like the media bringing him in, I don't think it's worth it for any team to bring him in. So I don't think you can move him. You would have to like deactivate him. You sit him, make up some BS injury or some. I can't even do that because of the clause. But you just, I mean, if we bench Daniel Jones, is it going to be some big mystery around the league? No, we're going to be benching him because of bad play.
No.
So, but to me, I'm like, right now, can these guys save their jobs? The only way you can save your jobs is if you win. And for me, my optimism has flown out of the window. Like, I was like 6 to 8 games, 7-10 is what I'm seeing. But right now, the way we're looking, we lost against the Minnesota Vikings. And we made Sam Darnold look fantastic. And guess what Sam Darnold's going to look like next week when they play San Francisco? He's going to be right back to regularly scheduled programming, and he's going to be Sam Darnold. And I'm arguing with Minnesota Vikings fans. They think they got something. And I'm like, listen, man, you played us. I hope you don't fall for this Sam Darnold pipe dream that he's going to somehow, win you guys some games, because just think about it, it's the 49ers next week, and I think they're going to snap right back into reality when it comes to that. But I mean, for us, I don't know, Rob.
Went 12 for 12 for $136 and a touchdown before he. And here's the thing is, and this was funny. I heard somebody say his interception wasn't even his fault. Like, if he threw a bad pass, it was off of Dex. It was off of Dex. So he may not have even freaking. He may not have even freaking, thrown an incompletion.
Shout out,
you know
Chris.
what I'm saying? Yo, what up, Chris? We got Chris in the building, man. What's going on, Chris?
I know Chris got a beer right now.
He better. Listen, Chris, you better be in the bar with a beer in
You
your
know it.
hand. Okay, you better.
You know
better. So look, touching on to this game, man. I was talking about before. Their offensive line with Bobby Johnson isn't very good. Jaden got sacked a couple of times, one forced fumble. And so, I think this is like, we talked about before, Kayvon kind of goes off against Washington. I think this is a game potentially where, our defensive line might look like the 07 Giants defensive line. And their corners, not very good. Mike Evans had a field day against them, but Mike Evans to me is dude, he's definitely a top 10 wide receiver, right now in this league up today. I mean, the guy is phenomenal out of Texas A&M, phenomenal. And so they have to win in the trenches. I do have the Giants scoring some touchdowns. I think it's going to be one offense, one defense. But I've got the Commanders for me. I got them winning this game 24-14 Giants. 24-14 Commanders.
You're not gonna get a prediction from me. I'm not. Yeah, listen, I'm not even in the prediction game anymore. Like I don't even want to throw out a score. I'll say this. And it sucks too because one of the things going into the seasons is how is this offensive line going to look? Are they going to be able to protect Daniel Jones? Can we keep him upright so he can make plays? And they did protect Daniel Jones. They did keep him upright.
Yeah.
He was up so he can make plays, but he didn't make the plays. So when I'm looking at the Commanders team, I'm like, oh, if our offensive line, even if we do win the trenches, are we going to win this game? Before it was like, yeah, if we win the trenches, we win the game. Now it's like, oh, we win the trenches, but are we going to win the game? I don't know, man. And it's crazy to me because I kind of fell for it. I drank the Kool-Aid a little bit, especially last year. It's like, okay, what's the excuse? I can say that the offensive line was bad because guess what? The offensive line was bad, but two things can be true. Offensive line is bad and the quarterback's bad. So now we're like, okay, so what I've seen now, small sample size, one game, the offensive line looked pretty damn good, especially in comparison to what we've been dealing with. And we're getting the same result. So for me, like what does Tommy DeVito do behind that offensive line with some time? Is it going to look better? What does Drew Lock look like with more time?
Tommy would have definitely made some of those throws, man.
Yeah, I know what Drew Lock looked against us. Look how he looked against us last year when he had all the time in that Seattle game.
He looked good.
He carved us up. So if he gets time, is he going to be able to carve up I don't know, man. And that's that's
everybody was shitting on Locke, and I don't think Locke is that great, but everybody was shitting on him because he looked like crap in the preseason game. But bro, he was going with he had fucking Josh Shizudu at left tackle. He was playing with a shitty ass offensive line that like just couldn't fucking block. If you give him some time back here, bro, he's gonna hit some of these guys.
You had Schlottman at center, and he ended up being full. He ended up being what he is. But yeah, behind this offensive line, and guess what? JMS didn't do a bad job. Was he great? No, but he didn't do a bad job. Andrew Thomas, the highest ranked tackle in week 1. I saw the PFF grade. He was like 91.4 or something like that. Gave up no pressures. And then you go right across the line, and everybody did a good enough job that we should have been able to at least score points. Yeah. And the proof is out there. So when it comes to, okay, can I get a prediction for the Commanders game? You don't want my prediction right now. I'll leave it at that. You don't want my prediction. You don't want it. And I don't want to say it out loud. It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
You'll have to tell me privately. Bro, you know what? I was just thinking this because you mentioned Andrew Thomas. And I really wonder what these guys were thinking in their head, right? Publicly interviewed, you're going to say the right thing. But in the head, like, you're sending these guys back out there with a guy that was throwing balls in the dirt, was playing like absolute garbage, and you're sending these guys out there with that. And it's like, I just don't see if the play like this continues, I just don't see how you don't make a change. You owe it to the players to put the bet. Like, you can't sit there and say the best players will play, and then put that guy out there playing the way that he is, and then you expect the players to buy in and say, but I thought all the best players play, coach.
Yeah.
There's no chance. I just don't see how you don't make a quarterback change at some point this year for the guys in that fucking locker room.
Yeah. I mean, at least for me, I didn't play pro ball, but I have been in locker rooms before. And I just when you have a quarterback on your team and he's part of the team, he's still one of your brothers. Like even if he's bad, like just think about even if when you played in high school, there was always people that sucked on the team. But if they ever got in for a play and they made a play, you celebrate them, even though they're trash. So I think for them, going into this season, they do see the hard work that Daniel Jones is doing. They do see him have success in practice. But when you get into the games, it's like, okay, where's this guy that was, making these plays in practice? And you start to slowly lose confidence in him. And I think that for the team, they want Daniel Jones to be good, even more than we do, because they're on the team. They want him to be good. But I just think for them, they're not slowly realizing, but, some of those guys, they know. But, they're like me. They want to hold on to a little bit of faith because he is the starting quarterback. I will say this, though. If Coach Dable decides to make a move, those players are going to back whatever that move is. We saw it last year with Tommy DeVito.
Oh, look at what they did with how they play with Tyrod. When Tyrod got in there.
Yeah. So they're going to support who that guy is. So right now they're going to support Daniel Jones because he's QB1. But if he was to get benched, and if it's Locke, if it's Tommy DeVito, whatever, if there's a little bit of success, they're gonna back him. They're gonna back him. So I mean,
I'll say this: I think the quarterback that's probably got the most juice from the players is probably Tommy DeVito.
It is.
Tommy DeVito has the most juice out of those players.
And he sucks.
And he's not good either. He's not good either. But those players they play hard for him, dude. They love him. They absolutely love him. He's got that energy, to him and stuff like that. And listen, I've been walking around my house I've been doing that a little bit, man. Like, I don't know, dude. Look, again, I said it today. I'm not high on Drew Lock, but it's different, right?
Yeah.
And when you got a guy like, a guy that walks around with that kind of swagger, Daniel Jones, man, when he was going to the sideline, I think after he threw the pick six, he just put the helmet on the little stand and he just like looked so bland. Like, dude, like show some fire. Like, show that you're angry. Show that you're mad. Show that you have.
All you see is the chin strap get pulled off. Like,
dude, strap. It's like, dude, like say a curse word, be like fuck. Like,
well, he did drop he dropped the F-bomb. When they ran out. He said, what did he say? Play with a chip on your shoulder all game. No, you play with a chip on your shoulder all fucking game, man. That's what you do. You should do that. No chips.
Well, bro, they had no nothing, nothing. In that game. They had nothing. So, well, look, a little bit. We're about to close it in on an hour and 9 minutes. So, Dash, I want to give you some time, man. Let people know where they can find you, what you got coming up, and go ahead and tell the people where they can find you at, brother.
Yeah, first off, I appreciate the invite. Shout out to you for bringing the show back. R.I.P. to Pest. I think that you're doing what he would have wanted you to do with bringing the show back, because you guys used to have a fantastic time together. So that's the first thing I would like to say, is that you're doing a fantastic job. And I appreciate you for doing that. That's a stand-up type of guy right there. As far as I go, me, Big Dash knows all social media platforms. If you're used to me being optimistic and nice and favorable, I apologize, because after this game, the mood has switched. So if you tune in and watch probably my next couple of videos until we win, you probably won't recognize me. I'll say that. But other than that, man, salute to you. Appreciate what you're doing, man. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you, brother. All right, y'all. Well, listen, man, I appreciate everybody that came in, man. Peaked at 94 people, on the channel. I appreciate everybody that came in. Chris, we had King Chris, so two Chris's. Obviously,
Yeah,
Dash for
opportunity
coming
coach
on,
too.
D Brown, Alex from Big Blue in the Bronx. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys next week. All right, next Tuesday, 8:30. I think I got something lined up. I think I got something big lined up. I ain't gonna tell y'all. Okay, I ain't gonna tell y'all. But I think I got something nice lined up. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it, and hopefully, look, from as far as from a Giants fan, obviously I hope that it's coming off of a win, right? But if it's not, it'll be
Right.
it'll be a little bit more interesting, right? To have this discussion. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So from I'm R0B, my co-host Pest. I love you, brother. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. And as we always do when we're leaving the show, you know how we do it. Deuces!